Okay, the aim end break, possibly the most sampled piece of music ever, and to turn it into a piece of jewellery. So first I need to download it. And then it's time to turn it into a form more useful. I'm going to open it up in Audacity, and that's a bit long. Only dealing with maybe 60-70 millimeters of space to go around a ring, so I need to chop out some of this. Should still be able to get a decent amount in though. Okay, that looks good. That's not a great template for sawing, so I'm just going to grab a screenshot. And take that into a photo editor. We don't need both channels, just going to do one. Maybe I was making earrings, need both channels. So crop that out and then convert to black and white. There we go, a nice clean waveform. All ready to take into Inkscape, which is a vector graphics package a bit like Adobe Illustrator. So what I'm going to do now is just freehand draw along it. Looks a bit messy, but I'm going to go in and clean that up, move some nodes around, that sort of thing, make it a bit more visible. Okay, there we go. One waveform. It's carefully arranged so that the end, each end terminates at the same height, because obviously if you wrap it around like you will on a ring, they have to meet up. So I've got some label paper and the printer, sticky pack stuff, and print out a couple of those and take it to the workshop. So a piece of sterling silver, already cut to size. I think this is going to make a size 8.5 ring, I think, in US sizes, which is size P in UK sizes. So just going to stick that on. Really important to get that straight. And then it's into the vise for some cutting. It's maybe not quite as hard as it looks cutting with a jeweler's saw. You have to be careful at the very sharp corners, at the tops of peaks and the bottom of troughs. Doing those very sharp turns is a bit tricky, but then, no matter how careful you are, still sometimes you break a blade. That was quite an old blade anyway, so load up a new one, and here we go. This is quite sped up. It did take a little bit longer than this. And there it is, just about finished. Try and match the angle the saw is cutting here with the angle that I started cutting with, so that when it's bent around it will match up neatly. Just going to clean the template off. Doesn't need to be spotless at this point, just a bit cleaner. And bend it around a ring mandrel, which is just a cone of steel. Now you notice I'm not hammering these into a circle, I'm hammering them into a D shape. That's so that the ends of the silver meet up flush. Because if you put it to a circle, then there'll be a triangular gap between them. So you can see they're nice and tidy. And it's off to solder those. So I'm just putting a little bit of flux on the join, just to keep it clean, help the solder flow. And a little dab of solder. This is an oxygen propane torch. I probably could do this job with that little torch you can see in the background, which is just a £5 cook's torch from the supermarket, but this one's a little quicker. As you bad camera angle, but you don't heat the solder directly because you'll just melt the solder and it'll ball up on the surface. You have to heat all of the ring, which you couldn't see very well on that one, but should be better on this. And once the metal's up to temperature, the solder will flow, fill in a little gap, and then you should be good to go. And after these are cooled down, they sat in a bath of mild acid for a little while, which dissolves off the oxide coating, the dark stuff you can see. So there they are, nice and clean. And now it's time to hammer them into a nice round shape and hope they fit together. It's a nylon face mallet to avoid making marks on the metal. If I was using a metal hammer, it gives a nice finish if you want a hammered finish, but if you want it to look nice and smooth, you need a softer faced hammer. There you go, both nice and round. Just going to flatten off the outside faces on some sandpaper, and they didn't quite fit together. I needed to just file down the tip of one side just to make it sit nicely. And that's just a hex shaft socket with some masking tape on. Provides a nice friction fit. You can see there where I've just sanded off some of the outside solder. And now I'm just going to give this a preliminary polish, give it a bit by hand and round off the bottom edge. You don't want to have any sharp or overly square edges, so just knock back everything a little and make it more comfortable to wear. And with a slightly smaller socket with some sandpaper and double-sided tape, do the same for the inside. It's starting at 180 grit, I think. And 320 followed by 600. And finally just a quick polish at 1200 grit. This is a terrible camera angle, I'm really sorry about this. I'm sanding the face, the cut face of the waveform, which is extremely fiddly, but it's worth doing to get out some of the saw marks. And again, just to round over the edges a little. The last thing you want is you to pinch any skin in that, or for it to just be sharp and uncomfortable. And I'm just giving it a final finish with an abrasive flappy wheel on the Dremel. I could take this to mirror finish, but I think it looks better in a sort of satin. These flat wheels are great, they get into all the little nooks and crannies. And there you go. One Amen brake ring. They look like they might be a bit uncomfortable to wear, but they're actually not. And you don't have to wear both of them. You could wear one, have your friend or partner wear another one, or wear them waveform side out or anything.